organisations out there that are just going, we want to turn AI on, and we're just going to jump in feet first, and obviously everything's going to be great. How do how do you think you actually? What's a smart way of looking at use cases and really working out how you want to start down that journey?
I think start small, learn from it, and then scale up. By starting small, you actually have two advantages. One of them is learning from your mistakes, and the second one is finding out what is right for your organization. So, don't do things just for the sake of doing things. Try to solve real problems, but also keep in mind that how you measure success should change. If it doesn't change, then you might be probably missing something.
So step one is define your actual problem. The biggest mistake I've seen in the market when I talk to people is people want to implement AI. They don't actually consider, we have an issue, what are all of the tools available, and of those tools, which one meets our needs the best. We've been working with AI for over 2 years now, so we were early adopters. We have extracted good value, but that's because we were looking at problems, we looked at alternatives, we identified a viable first use case, implemented that use case, which then drove the forward strategy.
The old adage that I learned when I first started working with Equal Experts, which is think big, start small, and act fast. That's kind of what I've prescribed to throughout my whole career, is when you think big and you can go dream and you can go think about the crazy things you're going to change, but then you start small. That's the important part, because what you mentioned about how do you find the problem, that's key. If you can't figure out what problem you're trying to solve, you can think big all you want, but you're not going to show any deliverable solution along the way.
I think it's more difficult with AI programs to as easily define ROI, what the ROI of it is. Do you have any thoughts or live experience of how you go about it?
I think fundamentally nothing changes. So I think the problem we have is most of the organizations are still struggling with what return in that ROI is, what the value is. In my view, I think it might be a good refresher for organizations to rethink their ROI and thinking that, what is our value? So are we actually focusing on real value right now? And when we have the AI agents or agentics, whatever structure we will be using, can we actually redefine and maybe recalibrate of what our value is?
The definition of the success of AI is from the business side. You have to figure out a way to quantify the value that you're delivering, and you have to be able to show that you're going to help save money today and in the future.
The interesting thing for me is defining ROI when you're talking about adjusting the role of the human in the loop. How do you quantify the change that you have to do? And then there's training for people to have different skills. You know, I'm a firm believer that it's not taking people's jobs away, it's changing the jobs that people currently have. So, you know, that's where I think the difficulty is personally in the ROI element.
One of our biggest use cases and our first use case was reporting. So our staff would spend approximately 15 minutes per session per day reporting. We run 2.1 million sessions a year. So the cost of every report was around $17. We completely automated it. Natural language takes multiple data points, which is one of the actual use cases for agents. Multiple data points is unclear data. Now we've reduced that cost to 43 cents. Now what that does is it didn't reduce headcount, it gave the staff 15 more minutes each session to do their real job.